All right, welcome back to That 70s Card Show. I am your host, John Keating, and I thank you for joining me as I take a look back at the cards and the culture of the very colorful 1970s. We're going to revisit a more simple time in our hobby by taking a deep dive into the sets and the stats with a generous amount of dad facts sprinkled in. That 70s Card Show is currently sponsored by nobody. If you want to get in touch with me, reach out to me on Twitter at 70scard or that 70s Card Show at gmail.com. I'm also simulcasting this on YouTube, that 70s Car Show. Find me there, leave comments, suggestions, ridicule me, do what you will. I can take it. I'm a big boy. Uh, again, broadcasting also on YouTube, so you may notice I'm wearing a Boston Red Sox jersey. I don't really follow baseball that much anymore. Sure, I'll root for the Red Sox or the Phillies, right, if they're playing, but this is more in honor of a gentleman who we'll be talking about a little bit later here. This is episode 24, and we're going to be talking about the 1979 Topps baseball set. Before we get started here, I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on in my life since we last met. Last Saturday, early October, I guess that would have been October 9th, I attended a show at the Live Casino in Philly. It was promoted by Wheelhouse Cards, which is LCS in the suburbs of Philadelphia on the main line. Kind of I guess a good first shot at it for Wheelhouse. A lot of modern there, mostly modern. A lot of some Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh stuff like that. Great, good for them. Not a lot of vintage. I did happen to pick up a box that had a couple hundred cards in it, a bulk buy. Nothing too crazy on my end. I guess the worst part of it is the fact that a lot of the cards were in screw downs, which kind of drives me crazy, as does most everybody else. Was a good idea at the time, but not so much anymore. There were some 75 minis in there, which I really appreciated. A bunch of 50 Bowmans. Mattingly RC was in there, 1984 Topps. 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, even modern stuff in there as well. So fun little John to pick through, but probably not too proud of the deal. It's not something I can say, hey, look what I did. It's more to keep me busy rooting through cards. Middle of the week, Wednesday, Cards with a Story, which is at Cards Story on Twitter, hosts, I should say, basically a free-for-all card sale, a vintage card sale. That's where I get most of my mail day stuff from now. It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to look at cards and to buy cards. Obviously, everything's negotiable. You deal directly with the seller. Really fun, good evening. Kind of I regret it every week because I probably spend too much every week, but really good time. I suggest you guys give it a try on Wednesday nights. I'll have a mail day recap of that sale along with some other pickups middle of the week here. Obviously, the mail's going a little slow, so when I get the bulk majority of those items, I'll do a little YouTube special over there on the YouTube. So this episode is going to be released on Sunday. Unfortunately, it's a little later than normal. Had a busy end of week collecting wise. There was a Facebook Marketplace collection that came up, a massive collection. The gentleman said he had possibly close to 1 million cards. Pretty much threw his price range out there too, right there on his ad, which maybe not a great idea, but anyway, there was a lot of 50s, 60s in there, a lot of Clementes, Aarons, Mazes, all sorts of really fun stuff. Koufaxes, Drysdales, no big hitters like Mickey or such, but a lot of really good stuff. 70s, a lot of 70s stuff with Schmidt rookies, and I know I saw on the one picture, at least 5 Ricky Henderson rookies, Gwynn, Sandberg, Boggs, Clemens, McGuire. They were all in there, multiples as well, all the way up to, I guess there was some sodas and some other stuff, some modern stuff. So anyway, I whiffed on that purchase. By the time I got a hold of the guy, about 10 or 12 hours after he posted the initial offering, he had already had a bunch of stuff lined up, a bunch of showings lined up, and apparently that collection's gone. So on Saturday, I headed up to my LCS. I'm still digging through these couple collections that I bought of the 10-gallon bin of um, cards, and another collection I bought last week. So I'm still, or 2 weeks ago, I'm still digging through that. So I needed some more supplies. Local card shop called What's Hot Cards and Collectibles in Limerick, Pennsylvania. Happened to need some uh, monster boxes, so I went up there just to get some supplies. Ended up having a nice conversation with the owner, Mike. Uh, he's got a lot of modern in there, an awful lot of modern. In fact, most of it's modern. We started talking about vintage. He said he's got a collection that he might want to sell. So anyway, a couple hours later, I'm digging through thousands of 50s and 60s cards, Topps cards, baseball. Um, he had a price, I had a price. We didn't quite agree to it this week. Who knows? Maybe we'll both come to an agreement. Like I said, it's about 5,000 cards from the 50s and 60s, and they're in great shape. But I also have a couple thousand cards from the 50s and 60s. So, do I take on the burden of having to resell ones I already have? Good question, right? Age-old question, I guess we have. I'm a bit of at a crossroads right now with my collection anyway. As I dig through these purchases, I keep accumulating more and more cards from the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, up to now. Some of them I love. I love the heritage stuff, but there's really so many cards. Where do you start? These, Topps put out a lot of cards, a lot of different sets, and I think it's a little crazy myself. So I'm probably leaning towards drawing a line maybe at 1990 and trying to just get rid of everything from 1990 on up to today. Might make things a lot easier for me. So that's where I'm at. But still, I can't. There's still some gems in there. So still digging through and sorting and collating and all that stuff. So tens of thousands of junk wax era cards I have. A lot of them have value. Most of them don't have value, as we know. Penny cards. There's just too much modern going on. Do I keep it? Do I spend the time to sort it? More time you put in, the more money you may get back. So anyway, that's that. Let's get on to why we're here, right? We're not here to talk about me and my collection. We're here to talk about cards, and specifically baseball cards. In this episode, you guys, judging by the analytics, which is pretty much Greek to me, but what I can read of the analytics is my listeners love their baseball card talk as opposed to the other sports. Sorry, hockey, but we'll get back to you eventually. We're going to talk about the 1979 Topps set here. Now, 1979 was a very interesting year for Topps. Obviously, we're getting to the end of the decade now. My opinion, fair estimation, is they were kind of running out of gas. There was a lot of not a lot of new ideas. They kind of short-armed a lot of the things, a lot of the designs and stuff like that. Maybe they were trying to be too cute, or too minimalist, but it just didn't work. There was a lot of misfires on that set, if you ask me. It's a 726 card set. That standard measurement 2.5 by 3.5, and it's the same number of cards as they produced in 1978. Wax packs came in 36 packs per box, 12 cards plus one stick of yummy bubble gum per pack. MSRP was 20 cents, 16 boxes per case if you were able to do that thing back then. I know I wasn't, as a 11-year-old in 1979. I sure as heck wasn't thinking about buying cases. They had something called a wax tray, which was 3 12-card wax packs per tray. MSRP was 59 cents on that, and there was 192 trays per case. I can't even imagine what that would have looked like. Anyway, cello packs, 24 packs per box, 18 cards per pack, plus one stick of that gum. MSRP of 30 cents, so there was 15 boxes per case there too. So let's go down to the rack packs. 24 packs per box, 39 cards per rack pack. 59 cents was what that would put you out. 6 boxes per case there. And of course, the ubiquitous Topps vending boxes. 24 boxes per case, and they were 500 cards per box. Probably used the same boxes throughout the 70s as they would in the 80s. kind of an interesting thing about these cards here. I'm going to pop up some stuff on the screen here for those watching at home. Let me get rid of a few things here. So as you can see, the design is a white border all the way around. Pretty much white dominates the whole card. Team name in a banner that runs horizontal across the bottom of the card. In this case, we have a Bob Molinaro card. I don't know why I chose Bob Molinaro, but why not, right? It's a good-looking card with the old Chicago White Sox softball uniforms. But team name, colored banner, different colors for each team. Doesn't necessarily correlate with the team colors, as is the case for most Topps cards. Above that banner is, on the bottom, is a player's name, all in caps, with their position to the right of that. Interesting thing about this set is there's a big old Topps logo right in the bottom left of the card. The old school Topps with the lowercase hook T, and it's embossed on top of a baseball. So that's in the bottom left of the card. Topps did not have their logo on the front of cards up to that point. They had, if you saw Topps, it was the Rookie Cup traditionally would have Topps in it, but not the logo, or at least this logo. I don't know whether that was a harbinger of things to come because of the big card wars that were on the horizon. Of course, in 1980, they did not have the logo on the front of the card, but thereafter, 81 on, obviously, it behooved them to have their logo on there to differentiate their product. So, big changes there, and Topps put their logo out there. We are Topps. Hear us roar. Back of the card has some of that green ink that we came to love in the 70s. Upper left-hand corner is a baseball with the card number in it. On a green bed across the top is the team again, the player's name, and their position. Below that, we have the vitals with the height, weight, throw, bat, their details on how they were acquired, signed, whether free agent, draft, whatever, and how they were acquired. Also in trades after that. That's on the next line down. Their birth date, where they were born, and their home. I have said before that I love the fact that they have birth places on here because a player could live in the city they play in, but it's really neat to know where they were born. All right, below that we have career statistics, and then we have their major league totals. There was a lot of minor league stats on these cards as well. They weren't shy. Topps was not shy about filling space with minor league stats. But if you were an established player, Topps would just put your major league stats on there. I'm holding in my hand right now a Ed Figueroa card for reference. Ed, of course, was with the Yankees in 1979, and coming off a couple World Series championships in a row there. On the right of the card is a baseball dates, so it's kind of more dad facts there. The dad facts before dad facts existed. What happened August 1st, 1903 on Ed Figueroa's card, it says 8 giant batters were hit by pitches in a doubleheader. So it's kind of a deep dive into baseball history right there. Pretty cool. And below the, as you can see on my screen with Bob Molinaro, below that is a bio of the player, of their career up to that point. Let's see here. We're going to talk about some subsets and some other things. Before we get there, team cards were traditional pictures. They were horizontal cards. Again, a team name and a banner, kind of a more fancy banner here with the manager picture and manager name kind of favoring the left side of the card. The back of the card, again, that green, that Topps green that we love so much, is a checklist of the team with the team players' name, their position, and their actual uniform number. And then the little boxes, again, that's card number, player name, position, and the uniform number of the player, and the little check boxes that you can check off. I have put the Astros picture up there because it's an outdoor picture of them in front of the Astrodome, which is a pretty cool team card. The Chicago Cubs, as was their MO during the 70s, just had floating head pictures on their card, no team portrait per se. There was some NL All-Star and AL All-Star recognitions. NL All-Stars were recognized by above the team name, the player name, and then there was a banner that had NL All-Star pink font onto a purple banner. And for the AL, it was yellow font color and a red banner. I pictured here Greg Luzinski of the Phillies in his powder blues and Reginald Martinez Jackson of the Yankees. Checklists were pink on the front, little green checklist across the top. Again, the Topps logo on there. They really didn't stray from their brand. The Topps logo, oddly enough, as you can see on the next card that I have pictured, the rookie prospects does not appear on the front, nor does it appear on the front of the team cards for some odd reason. I don't know why. So the rookie prospects we went back to three bangers here, horizontal cards, all players, three players from each team. The way the series goes is they're listed alphabetically by their city name, AL first, and then the NL. Three players on these cards, black and white photos. Nobody knows why they would have done this. Makes no sense at all. Black and white photos at the tail end of the 70s. Not sure what Topps was thinking at all, but that's okay. Anyway, so again, three players per, yada, yada, yada. Let's see here. 66 of these cards were double printed due to the set size. What else can we find out here? Now, there was kind of some parallel sets here that were branded with Burger King, and I have some of the Phillies. I know there's Yankees ones as well, and they don't have the Burger King logo like they would in the 1980 set. So no Burger King logo on the back, but you'll see it says here cards numbered 23 or lower are not on the checklists, obviously, of the regular issue top set, and they're not error cards. They're just, if you have Phillies or Yankees that are 1 through 23, chances are they're just Burger King cards. And if they're like my Burger King cards, they still have French fry grease on the back. Complete set again, 726 cards will run you on the low end for a excellent condition $200 to a near mint $500 set. Common cards 10 cents to 25 cents. The double print cards were 8 cents to 20 cents. And there were actually 727 cards, and you'll find out why in a few minutes. There were 83 rookie cards in this set. Total value of the set, if you were to put it all together, $668.40, and the average value is 92 cents. So let's go over some of the subsets here. League leaders here. So I popped up some league leaders on the bottom of my screen. Those are cards 1 through 8. They feature, obviously, the leader from the NL and the AL in a horizontal card. Batting average, followed by home runs, followed by RBIs. Incidentally, home run and RBI both feature George Foster and Jim Rice. Different photographs they used. I think they actually, maybe I'm fibbing to you. I think they just used a closer version of a close-up version of the Jim Rice photograph. Maybe not. It looks that way from a distance, but maybe the bat's missing. Anyway, stolen base leaders were Ron LaFleur and Omar Moreno. Your win leaders, Ron Guidry, Gaylord Perry. This is from 78, obviously, but on the 79 set. Strikeout leaders, J.R. Richard and Nolan Ryan. And ERA leaders, Ron Guidry and Craig Swan. So Guidry appeared on 2 cards. Craig Swan, kind of an anomaly in that bunch, as everybody else was a pure stud pitcher, except for him. Now, speaking of pure stud pitchers, your firemen were Rich Gossage and Raleigh Fingers, 2 more Hall of Famers. So Craig Swan, welcome to the big game there with the big boys. Cards 201 through 206 are your 1979 record holders. As is the custom during the 70s, Topps would put these cards out, and there's some greats in there, and there's some obscure players. Obviously, they were reaching and grasping for some filler. It's not all thrill here. There's some filler. So 201 is Mike Edwards, which is been hailed as having the most unassisted double plays by a second baseman in a game, and he actually tied that record. So, not sure it was worthy of a card. Ron Guidry, most strikeouts by a left-hander in a 9-inning game, 18. Of course, that deserves a recognition. J.R. Richard, most strikeouts by an NL right-hander in a season, 303. Pete Rose, keep in mind up to that point, Nolan Ryan, I believe, was still an Angel, and Steve Carlton was a left-hander. So J.R. Richard was in some high company right there. Pete Rose was recognized for his 44-game hit streak in 78. Again, grasping here, John Stearns, card number 205, most stolen bases by a catcher in a season, 25. I guess that's great for him, but again, is it worthy of a card? Not sure. And then card 206, Sammy Stewart, 7 straight strikeouts by a rookie in his first game. So that's kind of neat. Maybe it's been done since, I'm not sure, but it's not the first record you go to when you're telling people how great baseball is. Cards number 411 through 418 are special, very special cards here. These are the season and career record holders for Major League Baseball records, obviously. Card 411 is Ty Cobb and George Sisler. Cobb, of course, at that point had the career mark. George Sisler, the season mark. 412 is Hank Aaron and Hack Wilson with the RBIs. The big RBI, career RBI and season RBIs. Hack Wilson we'll talk about here in a few minutes. Hank Aaron and Roger Maris, home runs. Obviously, Hank Aaron by that time had the Major League home run career record at 755. Maris still held the season record at 61. Ty Cobb, Rogers Hornsby for batting average. Lou Brock, card number 415, is an anomaly here because Lou Brock held both the season and the career record at that time for stolen bases. So he's got 2 different photos on that card that you can see on my screen on the upper left. It's one with a batting helmet and one with one of the old-time Cardinals hats with the white piping. Strikeouts, Nolan Ryan season, Walter Johnson career. That would be surpassed, obviously, by a couple people. Both Carlton and Nolan Ryan would surpass Walter Johnson in due time. And then ERA, Dutch Leonard and Walter Johnson again. Let's talk about the team rookie prospects, 701 through 726. This may be the lamest set of prospects ever issued. Topps, again, I think was getting a little lazy here. And just pure laziness, right? Maybe they didn't do the research. Maybe it was just a bad off year. But pretty much the only thing you can really say about this group is, I guess, Pedro Guerrero was in there, who had started out great with the Dodgers, and then kind of petered out for whatever reasons. Bruce Bochy's in there, and he's more famous for being a manager than a player. So a couple things about this set here. I'm not going to spend too much on the prospects because the prospects were horrible, like I said. In the 78 All-Star game, Freddie Patek was a starter for the American League, but he is missing his All-Star designation banner on his card number 525. And according to Night Owl Cards blog, 43.7 of the cards in this set features someone with a mustache. So, yay 70s. The Topps All-Star Rookie trophies were not included on the cards of the 78 winners. Those 78 winners were Bill Nahordny, Dave Revering, Paul Molitor, Bob Horner, Ozzie Smith, Bob Molinaro, Hoskin Powell, Rick Bosetti, Rich Gale, and John Henry Johnson. So no Rookie Cup trophies were embossed on these cards. And again, for the first time, rookie cards were now arranged alphabetically by each franchise's city. The oddest ball card of the set would have been your Bump Wills card. That's how we ended up with 727 cards. So Bump was mistakenly pictured as a Ranger, but for some time the print run had him also had a Blue Jays logo on his card. So they rectified that error. So there are 2 Bump Wills cards. There's one with the Blue Jays and one with the exact same picture with the correct Rangers designation. And I'm not sure. I think that I'm not sure there's any kind of. Let me check something right here, real quick. Uh, I guess the corrected Rangers version is worth maybe about 2/3 of what the error one is. So the Blue Jays would run you about $1.25 to $3, and the Rangers correction would run you about 75 cents to $2. Um, not crazy, but kind of a neat little variation to have. Let's talk a little bit about a rookie again here. Let's talk about Sammy Stewart. Okay, so I like to believe that the rookie card craze started in the '80s. Probably Ricky Henderson is the one who got us on that path, and you can correct me, Victor, if you like, but that's my opinion. Now here we are, 1979. Nobody was going too crazy about rookie cards, yet we had Sammy Stewart pictured twice here. Okay, so his first card in the set is his record-breaking card that I said before, 7 straight strikeouts during first game in majors, and then later in the set, he was featured as one of the Orioles prospects. I'm sure the argument would have been that his prospects card with the other two gentlemen, which is Mark Corey and John Flynn, would have been considered his and designated his rookie card. But it's kind of amazing to see a player with a full card in the same set as his rookie card. So I'm sure that would have led us to quite a bit of arguing in the modern times. But thankfully, we don't have to worry about that because Sammy Stewart essentially turned out to be nothing. So he may have won a couple World Series. I don't know whether he was around in '83 with the Orioles, but really, we don't have to have that argument, thankfully. I want to talk about my boy Reggie Jackson, right? So here's Reggie Jackson. He is the last base player card in the set, card 700 before the rookie prospects. You can see he's got his All-Star designation. Right below him, I have pictured a 1970 Topps baseball card, which is his first card of the '70s. His second card for Topps, 69 being his rookie card. Just look at the difference, Reggie, right? Reggie's fresh-faced and swinging a bat in 1970, short hair, green, A's with a nice little baseball vest on and the green sleeves popping out. Young, fresh kid, and then by the 1979, he's got the mustache, the sunglasses, and then obviously he's with the Yankees at this point. 5 championships later, and a world of controversy behind him. So, kind of a nice little juxtapose there of Reggie early and Reggie later, separated by 10 years. Let's talk about the top 5 cards of the year, if we shall. Ozzie Smith made his debut on a Topps card. It was a full-size, full-card rookie card for the San Diego Padres, rocking those kind of, crossing the line between a McDonald's uniform and a baseball uniform with the San Diego Padres. Love that card. I think it's awesome. Really nice little rookie card. I've spoken about that before, I think, on my top 5 '70s cards by year. $40 to $100 for that card. That's obviously before his trade to St. Louis with Gary Templeton, who we'll also talk about later here. Anyway, number 2 card is Paul Molitor, card number 24. That's a $10 to $25 card. It's his first solo card, rocking a great-looking Brewers two-tone helmet and fat pinstripe Brewers home uniform. Card number top 3, card number 3, your card number 115, your Nolan Ryan, $8 to $20. Noli is probably the last year as an Angel in a wind-up there in a nice posed picture. Card number 330 is George Brett in a great action photo at third base, and it's an $8 to $20 card as well. High pants and even higher old school stirrups, not the new school stirrups, but the old school stirrups, looking good. Card number 5 and 6 are tied. They're both Philadelphia Phillies. Michael Jack Schmidt, card number 610, $6 to $15. And card number 650 is Peter Edward Rose. Pete Rose is pictured as a Reds player. He would be a Phillies player that year, 1979. Let's talk a little bit about some rookie cards here. Top 3 rookie cards. Again, the Wizard of Oz Card number 116, $40 to $100 is your top card. And then there's a bit of a drop off there. Like I said earlier, card number 718 is Bruce Bochy, Mike Fischlin, and Don Pisker, the Houston Astros rookie prospect cards. It's a $2 to $5 card. I mean, that's pretty sad when that's your best rookie prospect cards. Topps hit a lot on the previous seasons, right? With those four bangers from 75, 76, 77, 78. There was always somebody in those sets that was worth those rookie cards that was worth it. But here, Bruce Bochy, World Series manager for, I believe, probably the Giants, right? My modern days fail me again. And that's it. Your third most popular rookie card would be a full card Bob Welch card number 318, $1 to $2.50. So that is your very unimpressive rookie gang from 1979 Topps baseball. Ozzie obviously would stand out in any set, but it's even more of a glaring difference in this set. Let's head over to the judgment zone, if you guys don't mind. I'm going to talk about a couple players here and their cards. Pop them up on my screen. Don Stanhouse of the Orioles, pitcher. Again, probably another World Series recipient here, but he looks like he is accidentally made it to clown school without his clown makeup. Chris Spire breaks one of the unwritten rules of baseball by posing on the front of a card with a glove in a crouched position, ready to receive a ball with a batting glove on his right hand. Bad on you, Chris Spire. Bob Sykes looks like Tug McGraw's Nutrisystem before picture. I'm sure maybe it's just he looks like Tug McGraw to me, but looks like Tug McGraw, after a few milkshakes. Phil Necro, it looks like the guy who hands you 3 arrows or 3 darts at a carnival and tells you what prize you'll win if you pop a balloon. And of course, I've put up there an Oscar Gamble picture. Oscar Gamble is wearing that Ray Kroc McDonald's / Padres uniform. And I'm not judging Oscar Gamble. I just think Oscar Gamble looks awesome, and I never hesitate to bring him up while I can. So let's stop talking about baseball cards, and we're going to start talking about baseball. I may have went backwards here in my traditional sense here, but let's talk a little bit about the baseball season itself. January 23rd of 1979, Will Mays receives 409 of the 432 votes in the Baseball Writers Association of America election to earn enshrinement into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Not Hall of Flame, Hall of Fame. So Willie would be the only player elected that year by the writers. Two people would be elected by the Veterans Committee. Warren Giles, Reds general manager and the National League president for probably 18, 19 years, and the father of Bill Giles, who brought a few trophies to South Philadelphia for the Phillies. And Hack Wilson was also elected by the Veterans Committee. Of course, as mentioned, he has the single-season RBI record at 191. Held the NL home run record for at 56 for about 68 years. I think from 1930 he hit that until McGuire and Sosa's glorious summer of 1998. Again, Willie was the only one elected. Duke Snyder and Enos Slaughter were on the ballot. Drysdale, Fox, Nellie Fox, Hoyt Wilhelm, Red Shanis, Jim Bunning, Rich Ashburn, Louis Aparicio, and Bill Mazeroski also had various amounts of votes during that year. And would eventually get elected into the Hall of Fame. 71.3% was what Duke Snyder had. I believe he needed 75%. Gil Hodges came in 4th that year, but still has not made it to the Baseball Hall of Fame. They were eventually enshrined August 5th, 1979 in Cooperstown. February 3rd of January. Sorry, I diverged a little there. February 3rd, the Minnesota Twins traded Rod Carew to the California Angels for Ken Landreau, Dave Engel, Paul Hartzell, and Brad Havens. This is in his first season with the Angels. He helps the new team reach the postseason for the first time in their history, batted over 300 for the next 5 seasons, and was selected to the next 6 American League All-Star teams. Umpire Strike, April 1979. Umpire Strike begins with all umpires walking the picket lines except two, one from each league, who worked the opening day with replacement and amateur umpires before leaving for the picket line. So those two eventually joined their brothers on the picket line. April 7th, Ken Forsch of the Houston Astros pitches a no-hitter against the Atlanta Braves. At that time, it marks the earliest calendar date for a no-hitter in Major League history, which stands until Hideo Nomo's no-hitter on April 4th in 2001. This also makes him and Bob Forsch, who hurled a no-hitter in 1978, the first brothers in Major League history to both pitch no-hit games during their careers. April 10th, Houston Astros pitcher J.R. Reed fires 6 wild pitches in a game. I've spoken about J.R. Reed before. Imagine not knowing whether he's going to throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle of the plate or whether he's going to throw it in the middle of your back. Pretty scary stuff there. I guess that adds to that's all part of the game. May 15th, the umpire strike is settled, effective May 18th. So the umpires gain pay raises and additional vacation time and the addition of another crew. But 8 of those minor league umpires who worked during the strike were promoted to the major leagues, causing dissension and ostracizing of the replacements, whom the regular umpires referred to as scabs. I kind of remember that probably being the first time I heard that term. Okay, May 17th. Here's a big one, folks. Dave Kingman of the Chicago Cubs hits 3 home runs, and Mike Schmidt of the Philadelphia Phillies hits 2. The second of which proves to be the game winner in the 10th inning, as the Phillies beat the Cubs 23-22 at Wrigley Field. Bill Buckner had a grand slam and 7 RBIs. The game included a then record 11 home runs and 50 hits. I do remember that vividly. That was awesome. The wind was blowing out in the friendly confines, as Harry Kalas would say. June 8th, the Kansas City Royals used their 4th pick in the draft on Dan Marino. Again, this is 1979, folks. In the 17th round, they also selected Stanford's John Elway. Neither player would sign with the Royals. So let's talk a little bit about that draft. Imagine a team that drafted both Elway and Marino and didn't get a championship until the 20-teens, many years later. That draft was held June 5th and 7th, 1979, via a conference call, and there were 26 first-round selections in that draft, so 26 teams, obviously. First selection was Al Chambers out of Harrisburg, PA, not too far from where I am. We never heard of him from that point on. Taken in that draft were Andy Van Slyke in the 6th pick, Tim Wallach on the 10th, a couple other guys, Steve Howe, infamous for many things, Atlee Hammaker. They were all-stars, but really no greats were picked in that year, 1979. Later rounds, we had Milt Thompson picked in the 2nd round. Again, Dan Marino in the 4th. Harold Reynolds in the 6th. Yvonne Hayes in the 7th. Johnny Ray, good player, infielder for the Pirates. He was a 12th rounder. Bud Black, 17th rounder. Oral Hershiser was picked in the 17th round as well by the Los Angeles Dodgers. John Elway again in the 18th round. Don Mattingly was picked in the 19th round of the 1979 draft, 493rd overall. Brett Butler was picked in the 23rd round, 573rd overall. And the Phillies, not to be outdone by the Chiefs, picked Kurt Warner in the 32nd round, 784th pick overall. Kurt Warner, of course, was a Penn Stater who would play for running back for Seattle. So that's your draft. Moving on here. Guess who hired a new manager on June 12th? That would be the Detroit Tigers hired Sparky Anderson as their manager. Sparky, of course, would lead the mighty Tigers to a world championship in 1984. June 24th of 1979, in a 5-1 loss to the Rangers, Rickey Henderson debuts for the Oakland Athletics. He singles and doubles, the first of his over 3,000 career hits, and steals for his first of over 1,400 stolen bases. That's June 24th, 1979. Tops didn't see that coming or didn't feel like they needed to put him on a baseball card with the rookie prospects that year. July 12th, the Detroit Tigers win the first game of a scheduled doubleheader against the Chicago White Sox 4-1. Hopefully you guys can see what's coming here. This was Disco Demolition Night at Chicago's Comiskey Park. Thousands of young fans swarmed onto the field between games, damaging the field and causing mayhem throughout the stadium. The White Sox are forced to forfeit the second game. I think I spoke about that in my Dad Facts elsewhere in another podcast. July 17th was the All-Star Game, and the NL wins its 8th straight All-Star Game 7-6 in Seattle. Lee Mazzilli hits a home run to tie the game in the 8th and walks in the 9th to bring in the winning run. Dave Parker, with 2 outstanding throws, is named MVP, and Pete Rose plays a record 5 All-Star positions. Dave Parker, right fielder for the Pirates, was as lethal with his arm as he was with his bat, as was proven in that All-Star game. All right, folks, July 24th, and the reason I'm wearing this shirt today, Boston's Carl Yastrzemski hits his 400th home run off Oakland A's pitcher Mike Morgan. In the 7th inning, the Red Sox 7-3 win over the Athletics at Fenway Park. 400 homers for Yaz. Love it. Let's see here. On August 2nd, the Chicago White Sox announced that Don Kessinger had been fired as manager and that he will be replaced by rookie manager Tony La Russa. It's 1979. It's 2021, and guess who the manager of the White Sox is? Of course, August 2nd was also the day that Thurman Munson was killed in a plane crash in his hometown. I actually referenced that on episode 23 last week. So, on August 2nd, or on August 3rd, 51,000 mourners attended a memorial service for Thurman Munson. August 6th, the entire Yankees team flies to Canton, Ohio. And hours later, the team returns to New York City and defeats the Baltimore Orioles 5-4 at Yankee Stadium before a viewing audience on ABC's Monday Night Baseball. Bobby Mercer, who was one of Munson's best friends, drives in all 5 runs with a 3-run homer in the 7th and a 2-run single in the bottom of the 9th. Sounds like a walk-off to me. What a tribute to the fallen Yankee. On August 13th, the St. Louis Cardinals' Lou Brock slashes his 3,000th hit off the hand of Chicago Cubs pitcher Dennis Lamp. Cardinals win 3-2 at Busch Memorial Stadium. August 29th, in his first pitching appearance in the major leagues in his 11-year career, Kansas City Royal player Jerry Terrell entered the game in relief against the New York Yankees and got 3 outs on just 3 pitches in the 9th inning. Pretty impressive for your first tosses off the rubber. 3 outs, 3 pitches. September 12th, again, we're talking about Carl Michael Yastrzemski, and he records his 3,000th career hit, a single off of New York's Yankees pitcher Jim Beattie. Yaz would be the first player in American League history with 400 home runs and 3,000 hits with that single. Let's see here. September 15th, as part of a 10-2 win over the Baltimore Orioles, the Red Sox Bob Watson hits for the cycle. Having done it for the Houston Astros, he is the first player to do this in both leagues. And September 17th, George Brett hits his 20th triple of the season. He is the first player since Willie Mays in 1957 to join the 20-20-20 club. September 23rd, Lou Brock steals the 938th base of his career, breaking Billy Hamilton's all-time National League record. Brock's St. Louis Cardinals defeat the New York Mets 7-4. Kind of have a problem with that because the 79 Topps card said that he held both the season and a career record. I guess I don't know who Billy Hamilton was, but perhaps he played before the modern history, probably in the 1800s maybe. September 24th, Pete Rose collects his 200th hit of the season, giving him 10 seasons with at least 200 hits, and this breaks Ty Cobb's record. September 28th, Gary Templeton, who was traded for Ozzie Smith, like we said, playing for the Cardinals, collects his 100th hit of the season while batting right-handed. Having already collected 100 hits while batting left-handed, Templeton is the first player in history to accomplish this. He had batted right-handed exclusively for the last week of the season to get the needed hits. Postseason here. Okay, none of the teams from 77 or 78 would return to this year's postseason. I know the Phillies and probably the Dodgers were the National League teams, and the Yankees, and I guess it would be the Red Sox one year. No, not the Red Sox. Anyway, the Yankees and whoever came out of the West they didn't make it. Game 7 of the World Series, Willie Stargell hits his third home run of the series to send the Pittsburgh Pirates to the third straight win over the Baltimore Orioles to win the World Series championship. That's on October 17th. Stargell wins the series MVP honors as the Pirates came back from a deficit of 3-1. This was a rematch of the 71 World Series. November 13th, for the first time ever, there was co-MVPs, and that was in the National League. Keith Hernandez of the Cardinals shared it with Willie Stargell of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Stargell is the oldest person to win this award, and that's since been broken by Barry Bonds in 2004. The Pirates have thus won or shared all 4 most valuable player awards for the season, which is All-Star Game, Dave Parker, National League Championship Series, World Series, I think that's Stargell, and National League regular season, Stargell again, I believe, obviously. This is the first such sweep again in Major League history. So again, Parker won the All-Star MVP, and Stargell won the season, the NLCS, as well as the World Series. Rookie of the Year would have been John Castino with the Twins and Alfredo Griffin. They tied for the Rookie of the Year award. So there was a change in the system after that, so the 2 players could not win that award. But as with the NL MVP, the AL Rookie of the Year was shared. And Rick Sutcliffe wins the NL Rookie of the Year, solid there in his rookie year, 17-10 record for a sub-500 team. So he received 20 out of the 24 votes. Your league standings that year in 1979 were the AL East were Baltimore 8 games over the Brewers, 11.5 over the Red Sox, 13.5 over the Yankees, 18 over the Tigers, 22 over the Indians, and 50.5 games ahead of the Toronto Blue Jays. Orioles had a 102-57 record. Big divisions there, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams in that division. The AL was loaded with 14 teams, and the NL with 12 teams. Over in the AL West, we had the Angels, Royals. Angels over the Royals by 3 games. The Royals were a solid team. That was the team that came out of the West in the 77 and 78 seasons. Texas Rangers, 5 games back. Twins, 6 games back. White Sox, 14 games back. The Mariners, 21 games back. And the Athletics continued their descent in the 70s, 34 games back. Angels had an 88-74 record, which isn't that impressive, but they was enough to win that division. In the NL East, you had your Pirates and Expos 2 games behind them. 12 games behind them were behind the Pirates with the Cardinals. The Phillies were 14 back, the Cubs 18 back, and the Mets 35 games back. Pittsburgh Pirates went 98-64. Cincinnati Reds went 90-71, kind of the last thrust of the Reds in the 70s there. They finished 1.5 ahead of the Astros, 11.5 ahead of the Dodgers, 19.5 ahead of the Giants. Padres were 22 games back, and the Braves were 23.5 games back. So what you had there was the Orioles over the Angels, 3-1 in the ALCS, and Pittsburgh swept the Cincinnati Reds 3-0, and again the World Series 4-3 went to the Pirates. Pirates winning 3 in a row. Most valuable player was Don Baylor of the California Angels. As I mentioned previously, I love Don Baylor. Willie Stargell and Keith Hernandez, NL MVPs, co-winners. Cy Young Award winner was Mike Flanagan of the Baltimore Orioles, and Bruce Sutter of the Chicago Cubs. Hey, I mentioned Sammy Stewart may have won a couple of championships. Obviously, that's not right. Maybe he was around in 83. I forgot the Orioles lost in 79. Rookie of the Year again, John Castino and Alfredo Griffin in the American League, and Rick Sutcliffe in the National League. Statistical leaders, let's talk a little bit about those guys. AL batting average was Freddie Lynn, 333. Keith Hernandez in the National League for the Cardinals, 344. Home runs, Gorman Thomas for the Brew Crew, 45. Dave Kingman, 48. RBIs, 139 by Don Baylor and 118 by Dave Winfield. Wins, 23 by Mike Flanagan of the Orioles. Joe Niekro and Phil Niekro both had 21 wins to lead the NL. How cool is that? Ron Guidry led the AL in ERA, 278. James Rodney Richard, 271 in the NL. Strikeouts, Nolan Ryan, 223 in the AL, and J.R. Richard, 313 in the NL. Saves Mike Marshall. Wow, he continued to save games. This time for the Twins, 32 games. Bruce Sutter, 37 games. Stolen base leader was Willie Wilson with 83, and Omar Moreno would defend his title with 77. Gold Glove winners, yeah, you probably don't want to hear about that, but usual Cecil Cooper maybe, Frank White, Buddy Bell, Rick Burleson, Dwight Evans, Fred Lynn, Sixto Lascano, Jim Sundberg, and Jim Palmer. Some fresh faces in there for sure. NL, Keith Fernandez obviously was great with his glove and his bat. Manny Trio, Mike Schmidt, Dave Concepcion, Gary Maddox, the Secretary of Defense as we called him, Dave Parker, Dave Winfield, Bob Boone, and Phil Niekro with the Atlanta Braves as your pitching NL Gold Glove winner. Let's talk a little bit about something else real quick here, if you don't mind, before we go. Boy, I can spin a yarn, can't I? Here's some attendance facts from 1979. The Dodgers would often draw over 3 million people. They drew 2.8 million in 79, average of 35,000 a game, which is about 14.5% less than they normally would. Phillies had an off year on the field, but in the stands they had the second most highest attendance at 34,000 plus a game, coming in around almost 2.8 million as well. Yankees were third, 31,000 a game. Angels 31,000 a game, and the Reds with 29,000 a game. All the way down to the A's. Again, the A's kind of stunk, right? So they were drawing 3,700 people a game in 1979. I mean, the Braves were drawing 9,700, the Mets 9,600. It's scary how few people would show up at these massive stadiums. Shea was a big stadium when it was empty, that's for sure. Oakland Coliseum, same thing. Even before the addition, the center field, Mount Davis center field, it was still a massive stadium far away from the action. So, sure, these people felt like they were all alone out there. Yeah, so that's that. Attendance again went from average anywhere from 3,700 to 35,000. Look at the Montreal Expos were drawing close to 26,000 a game in the Big O back then. A couple notable retirements were Jesus Alou retired following the 79 season. Jesus Alou was the last of the Alou brothers, Matty, Felipe, and Philippe Alou and Jesus Alou. They would appear on cards in the 60s and 70s in an amazing frequency. Jesus, though, would hang on. Even though he retired from the game, his last card wasn't until the following year with the 1980 Astros. So he went out of baseball cards, kicking and screaming. Lou Brock retired, and it was his final card, his 1979 Topps issue. Catfish Hunter also retired due to arm woes. Same thing, last card, 1979 Yankee card. And George Boomer Scott, he retired as well. Played for several teams. He was released, I think, by the Red Sox in the 79 season, but his final card would be a Yankees card in 1980. So that wraps it up. That's our 1979 Topps review, the baseball season review. Again, the set is kind of, I don't think anybody's going to claim that the 79 Topps set is their favorite baseball card set. There's maybe some sentimentality. The set I have behind me right over there is in binders, and I pulled every card of those out of the pack. Still have that, but I don't really, fawn over the thing. Kind of, again, running on E, I think Topps was at the end of the 70s. So anyway, thanks for listening. Again, I'm at 70s Card on Twitter, ThatSeventiesCardShow at gmail.com if you want to get a hold of me there. And, of course, That 70s Card Show on YouTube. Join me there again midweek where we'll do a mail day. And as always, thank you guys for listening. Enjoy your collecting and enjoy your collection. And that's all. Thanks, guys. Bye.